In the year 2028, one Big Mac will equal $1 million. From the Gospel of John McAfee. Bro, just learn to code. The Project Freedom Podcast.
Boom. I'm Josh from eLift Program, and welcome to the Project Freedom Podcast, episode number 7, where we discuss anything and everything that has to do with sovereign individuality and living a life of freedom. Tonight, I wanted to talk about being a digital nomad versus a Wagey Wojak. All right, so first we're going to have to define what both these things are, right? So let's just start with defining a digital nomad. And, people usually know what a digital nomad is, right? Or at least most people do. But if you don't, I have a nice little definition for you pulled up right here. So let's check that out. Get my face off the screen first. All right, so if you go to investopedia.com, there is a definition written by Adam Hayes. All right, and if you guys don't know who Adam Hayes is, he's basically a financial writer for 15 plus years of a Wall Street experience, yada, yada, yada. He's a popular dude, but what is the literal definition of a digital nomad? A digital nomad is really just people who are location independent and use technology to perform their job. Living a nomadic lifestyle. Digital nomads work remotely, telecommuting, rather than being physically present as a company's headquarters or office. The digital nomad lifestyle has been made possible through several innovations, including content management software, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so this is just like fancy jargon, guys, for just basically somebody who does their job and they aren't required to go into an office, all right? How is this possible? Well, in the year 2021, it's very possible because essentially pretty much every single job that is not every single job, but almost every single job nowadays requires a computer, right? Most jobs, and I'm talking about just like regular jobs. I'm trying to just think of like a regular, I don't want to use the term pencil pusher to like offend anybody, but if you're offended, oh well. Most like pencil pusher jobs, which is really just like, somebody working at a computer that's just, I don't know, maybe typing out a TPS report or inputting files in a spreadsheet or something like that. Most of those kind of jobs, like, honestly, guys, there's really no reason for these people to go into an office, okay? Although there's a lot of corporate entities that would beg to differ with this, but the simple fact of the matter is, if you can get the job done and not being in an office doesn't become a hindrance on your work, then, you can set your life up to be able to live not in an office. All right. And I have a couple statistics that we're going to go through throughout the episode tonight and a couple of things to talk about, but that is in essence what a digital nomad is. Okay. It's just somebody that doesn't work in an office and can efficiently and effectively get the job done. Okay. Which this isn't anything like crazy. Most people during the craziness that went on the last year were able to do this for like the first time. Right. So there's all kinds of jobs that could be considered to be a digital nomad or have the ability to where someone could say, all right, I don't want to go work in an office. Can I do this job from a coffee shop? Can I do this job from home? Does it really matter where I am? And for the most part, no, it doesn't matter. All right. It really doesn't matter. Okay. To me, at least. To some people, it might. All right. But anyway, the point of this article right here is just to, it's not even really an article, to be honest, guys. There's some like key facts, blah, 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 blah. Just to give you guys a standard definition of what a digital nomad is. All right. Some people call them technical nomads. There's actually a YouTube channel called The Nomad Capitalist, and the guy is pretty base. He's got some pretty cool concepts and ideas. But okay, we've defined a digital nomad. All right. So let's define what the Wagey Wojak is. And if you guys don't know what the Wagey Wojak is, here's a meme. All right. Here's your meme of the day. Wagey, also known as wage, 4-letter word that I probably shouldn't say because it's a bad word. It's a slang term popularized by a message board that I also probably shouldn't say. It starts with the number 4. All right, you guys, I'm sure you guys know what that is, which used to describe both all people in employment in general as opposed to NEETs. All right, if you guys, let's just look at a NEET now, I guess. Now we need to look at what a NEET is. If you guys don't know what a NEET is, a NEET stands for, it's an acronym, all right, but it stands for not in education, employment, or training, all right? And I'd venture to say that this is probably like a majority of Zoomers right now, to be honest with you. But the NEET's not important. What we're actually talking about is Mr. Wagey Wojak over here. A Wagey Wojak is just a pejorative, okay? That's all that is, just a pejorative. All right? So, okay. We've defined digital nomad, and we've defined a Wagey Wojak, all right? And, okay, another thing, too. Like, you could technically be a Wagey and a digital nomad at the same time, unless, you know, you're an entrepreneur or something where you're working for yourself. But we're going to get into that. I promise, guys, we're going to get into all that. Let me check up the chat. Antonio says, sup, killas. What's up, Antonio? Wade says, hello. Christian Shoto says, Big Mac emojis in the chat. Oso Chain says, what's Gucci, guys? Orange pill. Yep. We got to take our daily orange pills, guys. Don't forget. Jay Reezy says, sup, Moon Gang. What is up, my fellow Moon Gangs? Sam Perchinsky says, no more poor. Yeah. So the point is, we don't want to be like Mr. Wagey over here. We don't want to be no more poor, right? This is the goal of this stream, I guess one could say, is, I mean, it does not necessarily not to be poor, but at least being more free, right? If I had an option, and this is just me, and I'd venture to say most people that subscribe to this channel or know who I am and are associated with me would also feel the same way. But if I had an option between, I don't know, let's just say I had a job where I only got paid $25K a year, all right? If I had the option to get this $25K a year via working remote, so location independent, work from home, yada, 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 or if I had to go into a company every day or an office, for a company from 9 to 5, I would 100% choose the former, right? And again, I don't want to get ahead of myself because there's going to be a couple reasons as to why this is just an overall benefit to your life. But I would choose the former, and I'm sure most of you guys would as well. Morgan and Morgan says, great content. God bless BTC. Yes, sir. Thank you, Morgan. God bless BTC indeed. Everyone needs to take their orange pills daily. So we have defined what a digital nomad is and a Wagey Wojak. All right, guys. Everybody got their definitions prepared and written down and ready? Okay, taking notes. All right, good, guys. All right, so first off, let's just start with actually, we'll start with the bad first. Let's start with the Wagey Wojak. And, you know, Wagey Wojak is kind of like the nicer way to put it, right? You can use the other term if you want. So this isn't the worst thing in the whole world, right? Some people would say that it would probably be worse to be unemployed, correct? Worse to be unemployed and making $0. Except nowadays, those who are unemployed are living a life and a lifestyle that is actually better than when they were wages, right? They're getting free USD airdrops from good old Uncle Sam, and they don't really have to do anything. And hopefully the ones that were doing that have been, you know, smart enough to be trying to piece together their life elsewhere in order to, I don't know, escape from that situation, right? But if you're not any of those people, let's just say you're not getting the free USD airdrops, and you know you're still going into McDonald's every single day to work your job. So why is this a negative? Other than the fact that like the things that are going to be common sense, right? Like the fact that you literally have to go into a place and be micromanaged, which, hey, some people need to be micromanaged. But first and foremost, okay, and this, to me, this is like the biggest one. I probably should have said this last, but I'll just say it first. If you can structure your life to where you can be nomadic via the internet, via digitally, then you are location independent. All right. You're no longer bound to whatever area, city, state, country, even continent that you were born in or lived in. All right. Back in the old boomer days, basically people that lived, people that lived in like rural areas like Wisconsin and stuff, I mean, honestly, people that live like anywhere, even big cities, if you were born there because your family raised you there and your family was born there and they were raised there, if you were to ask one of these people that have never lived elsewhere, like, hey, like, why are you, what are you doing here? What do you like about the city so much? I mean, they might be able to tell you a lot of good things. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, and I could tell you some good things about that city. But I could also tell you a lot of bad things about that city as to why I left. All right. I'm currently located in Miami, Florida. And at least for the time being, it is a huge, huge step up as far as quality of lifestyle than when I lived in New Orleans. All right. And the biggest advantage, again, of not being, I guess we could say the biggest disadvantage of being a Wagey Wojak is the fact that you're location dependent, right? You require a certain area to live. And for example, let's just say you are that Wagey Wojak who is making $20K a year, 20. I don't know how much McDonald's employees get paid, guys. All right. But let's just say you are that Wagey Wojak who's getting paid $25K a year. And let's just say that's your best bet. That's your best option in life currently. But you live in New York City. 25K a year in New York City is not good, right? Not good at all. Pretty bad. In fact, it's probably like below poverty level in that city and state, right? If you were to be able to have the same skill set to make the exact same amount of money, and you weren't bound to the same exact area, for argument's sake, you could literally just pack up your bags, move to Brazil, and be a digital nomad. Let's just say you're still making exactly 25K a year. 25K in New York City versus 25K in a city like Sao Paulo, Brazil is like night and day difference, right? You go to Brazil with that kind of money, you're like upper middle class, right? You could live a pretty solid lifestyle doing that. And a lot of those people, even if they do have the desire to do better in life, they end up getting stuck in the same area that they're at because they can't even afford to leave. They're barely affording currently to like pay their bills and to put food and bread on the table. So like how the fuck can they pack up their bags and leave, especially if they lead to like, if they're going into a company every day, 1 hour there, 1 hour back, 8-9 hours inside the office or whatever, they're not even have the time to like think about preparing for all this stuff, right? So that's probably the biggest reason why being a Wagey is not good, right? Or at least the Wagey that is required to go into an office, okay? And speaking of having to go into an office every day, number 2 disadvantage of being a Wagey Wojak is the fact that you have to commute, all right? It doesn't seem like that big of a deal, right? Driving back and forth from your home to your office, right? But in actuality, it is, guys. It's quite a big deal. And for you guys, I actually prepared something for you guys that a good friend of mine, here's a slideshow. You guys will just be patient for 1 second. I can get the slideshow rolling and make sure it's working. But I actually attended a webinar that a good friend of mine put on. His name is Nick. He works at Amazon. I won't say his last name because I don't want to, don't want to get this guy in trouble. But he has a conference called SledgeCon, or maybe he doesn't care if I tell him his last name. But we'll just say SledgeCon is the conference. All right. And I was attending one of his webinars, and basically in these webinars, it was about how, well, I'll just let you guys see. The next decade in remote work. All right. And if we just step through this guy a little bit, so obviously he wanted to point out at the beginning the negatives of remote work, right? Where me personally, social isolation isn't really so much a negative. At least for me, I only socialize with people that I want to socialize, not with people that I'm required to socialize with. You know that thing that everyone wears that we're all supposed to wear when we go outside that goes over our mouth like this. For me, when I wear that, that's actually to prevent myself from breathing in the normie air. That's how much I don't like socializing with people. All right. But some people could argue that there are some negatives to working remote or this quote unquote digital nomadic lifestyle. Right. He goes in here to say things about how remote work is here to stay. But speaking of the commute, so I don't get off topic here, there is quite a bit of benefits of not having to commute. And we can flip this since we're talking about the disadvantages of being a wagey. All right. There's actually some drawbacks of having to commute. Okay. And I think at the end of this, he cites all of the sources and stuff, but we're just gonna talk real quick. So huge time saving without commute. So if you don't have to commute, and I think he calculated the average drive of people in the United States. I don't know this has to do with other countries. I'm fairly certain this is only prevalent to people in the United States. All right. But the average drive time is about 1 hour per day per employee. Okay. And currently in the US, and again, I think this is in the US, not in other countries, we have 150 million people in the workforce. So this works out to be about 10 days every year, like literally 10 24-hour periods every year that someone will spend just commuting to work in a car. All right. So if you multiply that over how many years you're alive, you're literally just like losing your life, right? As sad as it is to say. And since all the orange point haters out there, I want to talk about how bad it is for the environment. Let's talk about how bad commuting to work to an office every day is for the environment. So here's some numbers here, and also commuting costs gas for people who have to drive as well, right? The math that he did is about $5,500 per year of gas, which to me is fucking insane. That's a ridiculous amount of gas. And these statistics were before the Colonial Pipeline Russian hacker incident. So it's probably like, I don't know. In my opinion, $5,500 can buy one Big Mac by the end of December this year. So we'll see. But this might not end up to be a lot of money. But yeah, so commuting every day, all those people, 150 million people in the workforce, just in America alone, commuting that much every day can't be good for the environment, right? So if all these people that love and care so much about the environment and hate the orange coin because it's quote unquote bad for the environment, we should probably wake them up, guys. We should probably put this in their face so that at least they can see like, hey, commuting is bad for the environment too, right? Not to mention it's bad for your pocketbook. I mean, that's a lot of gas, right? So yeah, that's just one little watch. That's a few little reasons as to why having to commute is bad, right? And guys, I actually love driving a car. I like driving fun cars. I love to take my car down like a nice back road and not do anything crazy, not like floor it and go like, that's fun too, right? But not do anything crazy. And I am a car enthusiast. I love cars, but I don't like cars when I'm driving at 8 o'clock in traffic at 8 o'clock in the morning, when everyone that is driving next to you is just being an asshole and just doesn't want to be there. It's not a very pleasurable event, right? I'm pretty sure everyone has been there and done that, right? Another drawback of being a wagey is like, if you go into an office, you really can't be left alone. And again, some people would probably disagree with this, but I don't want to socialize with people that I work with. Okay. And I know that sounds really bad, guys. Like, oh my God, you don't want to be a part of the company family. You don't want the free break room food. You mean to tell me that you don't want to be a part of this company family. You don't want to come and you don't want to have people stop by your desk and interrupt you when you're in the middle of work. No, I don't. I just want to be left alone. If I'm working for a company and I have that job, I just want to do my job to the fullest extent that I can. And I just want to be left alone. All right. Call me antisocial if you want. Call me whatever. And that's not to say that I can't make friends with people I work with, but I'm just going to be honest here. At every place I've worked and all people I've worked with, and there's been some pretty cool people that I've worked with. You know, I've got their phone numbers. I've talked to them like once or twice out of work, but like a year after you leave someplace, like I just don't ever talk to them again. I don't have any reason to. It wasn't like I became friends with these people because we had a lot of things in common. We shared the same beliefs. We had the same belief sets. We were just friends because we were forced to associate with each other at work. And yeah, you know, if you have to deal with people that you work with, you obviously just want to be at least nice to them, right? You want to be civil with them. And I'm not saying that like if I go into the office and I see these people at work that I just want to like, you know, rip and tear. But like, you know, you got to be civil and you got to be nice to them. But me personally, quite frankly, the people that I want to spend my spare time with and associate with and socialize with has always never been people from work. Okay. In fact, that's usually the last thing I want to do is have to deal with people that were annoying me all day about stupid and irrelevant things. Not having to do with work, actually, because people will use like work chats to talk about things that are completely irrelevant to work, right? And actually, you know, a lot of people like actually like, oh, I love my family culture. I love my family company. That's fine and dandy, and that's all good, right? But I don't care about the free break room food, right? I don't care about Taco Tuesdays. I don't care about the fake company family because let's just be honest. Everyone be honest with yourself, okay? This is going to be a painful piece of information for some people, but these quote unquote company families that they essentially brainwash you into believing that you need to be a part of, right? Can your regular family, so if I have a mom and a dad, can they just one day say, "Hey, son, we can't afford to pay you anymore, so you're no longer our son"? No, they can stop paying me, right? They can stop giving me money, but I will always have to be their child, right? Because I'm genetically linked to them, right? A company can just be like, "Hey, we can't afford you anymore, so goodbye. You're no longer a part of our company family." So I don't care about the break room. I don't care about the free like really chic coffee that you guys got to save money. Like you guys got the cheapest coffee ever. I don't want any of those quote unquote perks of having to be at the office. And quite frankly, I would prefer to just be home and be left alone and do my job. But every time I hear people say things like that about how good, like don't you care about all the benefits of coming into the office? Because in my mind, there isn't any. I just think of this scene from this video game right here.
Does he not seek enhanced power? Gifts to aid him in his noble conquest, perhaps in return for my...
Oh boy. Yeah, I don't care about any of that stuff. I just want to be left alone, right? I just want to be left alone and do my job. That's it. So no, none of that stuff is a positive to me. It's all drawback. Let me get caught up with the chat. Sam Perchinsky says, Biden airdrops. Yes, please send some right here. Send me a Biden airdrop. Antonio says, if Texas ever turns blue, I want to have a plan to leave. Yeah. And, you know, today we're going to talk about why being a digital nomad will allow you to have that plan. Also, Chain says, earned in USD in a quote unquote third world. Yeah. Most of these quote unquote third worlds, like the USD value is much higher over there than it is over here, or at least not actually the value doesn't change, but how far it can stretch you because things just happen to be cheaper in our currency over there. Christian Soto says the less people I have to talk to, the better. Yeah, man, because it can prevent you from doing your job, right? Sam Perchansky says Nick Coin. Yes, Nick Coin. Oso Chain says there's research that suggests the longer you commute, 30 plus minutes per day, the more at risk you are of dissatisfaction and unhappiness. Yeah, dude, I could for sure see that because I fucking hate commuting. I used to live, guys. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to fix my screen real quick. I used to live, my first job I ever had, guys, I was in the city of Jackson, Mississippi. Okay. If you guys know anything about that city, it is a complete and utter poop hole. Okay. It is a toilet bowl for many reasons. Nothing to do with the people there are very kind. Southern people are very nice and kind, but the infrastructure of the city is quite frankly falling apart. And nobody's doing anything to fix any of that stuff because here's what happens. Everybody that has a job in Jackson, Mississippi, they're like, hey, I don't want to pay like $4,500 for a license plate. Hey, I don't want to pay $10,000 for a monthly water bill. I'm just going to go to, hey, you know that city next door, right next to it? That's 30 minutes out. Yeah, I'm just going to go to that city and just live there, and I'll just drive to Jackson every day for work. And that's what they did, and that's what I did. And the first 6 months I lived in the inner city of Jackson, and then I moved to the city called Brandon, Mississippi, which is right next door to it. But because everyone drives so goddamn slow there and how much traffic there is coming from out of that city into Jackson, because pretty much like a large majority of people that worked in Jackson lived in the city. I was honestly, sometimes I would be driving an hour and 30 minutes to work and an hour and 30 minutes back from work, even though it really wasn't that far. And man, it is like exhausting doing that. Driving is physically exhausting and mentally exhausting because you have to stay focused, right? Especially if you're trying to avoid idiots that could potentially crash into you and kill you and or damage your car that you just bought, right? So yeah, Osa Chain, I totally understand that. I would totally wouldn't be surprised if there's research that says that. Sam Perchinsky says there is no company family. It's one-sided. Yeah, 100%, my dude. Christian Shoto says the Green Goblin to Spider-Man, paraphrase, they love you until they don't need you. Yep. Tom RKBA says my commute requires no clothes in all of 2 seconds. Should I still be dissatisfied? No, my friend. It sounds like you are indeed living a digital nomad lifestyle. And Max Dignitas thinks that your comment was funny. CH says, I think it depends on the company and the individual. One of my previous jobs loved the most of my coworkers, but disliked the company. Yeah, man. Look, I'm not saying it's impossible for you to enjoy people that you work with, right? It's definitely not impossible. But a majority of the time, like if you guys have gone back and watched my previous podcasts and things that I've said, majority of the time, most people that are working at a job, it's not because when they were born and their grandpa used to ask them, hey, Joshy, what do you want to do when you grow up? I told my grandpa I wanted to be the president of the United States. I didn't tell him that I wanted to be a software engineer. I didn't even know that was a thing that exists. And specifically, let's just use my first company. I'll just say what type of company it was. I never specifically said I want to be a junior software engineer at a telecom company in rural Mississippi, right? Like that just happened to be a good quality job that I got when I graduated college. And I took the job because it wasn't a bad job. And I graduated from college. I needed money, right? Or else I was going to be FUCKED. And most people, when they take a job, that's just the case. They're getting the job that can facilitate a life. Most people are working so that they can live, or well, at least that's what they believe that they're doing, but it actually ends up being the inverse, right? They're living so that they can go to work. But I've definitely had people that I've been cool with, and I got nothing against them, but I just, majority of the time, it happens to not be the case, right? And majority of the time, you're probably not going to be working with people who are going to be cool. And then CH says, but working remote is 100% better than commuting through rush hour traffic. Yeah, for sure, man. Pablo says FUCK3D. Yes, indeed. All right, so where was I on our conquest to talk about the negativities of being a wagey? Company family. Yes, that's right. I think we already discussed that. But again, I don't care about company family. I don't care about having to have physical interaction with people in front of my face, all right, while I'm working, okay? In fact, that's the last thing that I want, because the way that I work best left alone, literally. Unless the thing that I have to do for my job requires social interaction, or at least me having to explain something to people. That's totally fine, right? But you also don't need to go to an office for that as well. All right, so yeah, there's a lot of things like that are, I mean, I'm sure there's more, and I'm sure there was more that I didn't think about. But besides just, and being overall unhappy, there's plenty of reasons why being a wagey is going to be like not so great, not so free feeling lifestyle, right? You most likely feel like you have the same permissions as a kindergartner. And the lifestyle that I've always wanted to live is a permissionless one, right? And I've said that before. When I say that, I don't mean like the permission to go and just go bow to someone in the street, right? I mean, that's obviously, guys, that's not the permission I'm talking about. I just mean the permission to do the things that I want to do in life that don't harm other people, like doing work remotely, right? So we talked about the drawbacks of being a wagey. So we should probably be discussing the benefits of being a digital nomad, right? And you could basically take all the things that I said and inverse them. But there are a few more. Specifically, well, first and foremost, I said the biggest drawback, in my opinion, of being a wagey is to be location dependent, right? And again, and also the inverse of that as well. The biggest benefit of being a digital nomad, in my opinion, is the fact that you're location independent, right? Like you can pack up your bags. If you feel like your city is falling apart and you disagree with some policies that the politicians at your city are doing, you don't have to give them your money anymore. Later, sayonara. I'm going to a city that's going to treat me better, right? And that's how things should be. You should never feel like you're forced to stay someplace and to pay a certain local government money that you disagree with. Like you literally, and people always, I've heard this my whole life. You need to vote at the ballot. Like you need to go to the ballot and vote, and like, show your protest with your vote. No, sorry. I ain't got the time to depend on other people to make the same choice as me. In fact, I'm going to take a gamble that most people are not going to think the same way as me, and that they're not going to vote the same way as me. So since that's the case, I'm going to vote with doing this. Quietly leaving. Goodbye. Just rug them. Sorry. That's how I'm going to cast my vote. So goodbye, city that doesn't want to treat me well. Goodbye, country that doesn't want to treat me well. I'm going to go someplace that actually is going to value me and is going to treat me well, right? So yeah, biggest benefit of being a digital nomad is that you're not forced to someplace. You could even go to another country if you so choose to, right? I know we talked about that a bit as well. So if you go to a quote unquote third world country and you bring your money there, you could live like a king. Most people could. Most people with at least basic jobs, right? The second, and these aren't really I'm saying first, second, these aren't really level of importance for you guys, but this is just my opinion. The second benefit of being a digital nomad is you have more freedom, all right? You don't have to be micromanaged. You don't have to feel like you're trapped in this little box, right? In this little fucking cubicle, which, it's about this big. And quite frankly, if anyone in here has ever worked in a cubicle, it's pretty fucking miserable, right? It's a pretty miserable existence to be working in a cubicle. It makes you feel like you're just some sort of like milking cow or some sort of plow horse, right? I hated working in a cubicle. In fact, I've worked at a company where I didn't work in a cubicle, where I've had my own office. I've worked in a company where we just had like open tables everywhere. And none of it was better. It was all the same because I knew in the back of my mind that I was forced to be at a place that, quite frankly, I just didn't want to be, right? If I could get this job done at home, I would. And inevitably I did. But having that sense of freedom to where you feel like you're not confined somewhere, there is just some sort of psychological element to it that once that veil is removed, I found that I did way better work. My ability to do work in at least my specific field. So I write software. I'm a developer, software engineer, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I was able to think a lot clearer. I didn't have this ominous, ever-present feeling of doom and gloom laying over me. Like, oh, I gotta pretend like I'm busy. And that's another thing too. And I'll talk about that as well. We might as well. A lot of jobs that are salaried jobs and don't really require you to do like hourly work, right? Although these places, they'll still expect you to be available and or doing something for at least 8 or 9 hours of the day. A lot of those jobs, even if you do everything that you can, you might do, let's just say you write software for a living. You might do everything you're supposed to do. Maybe you're pulling from something called a backlog of items, right? Of just things in code that you just need to fix, aka bugs or features that you need to add as well. And maybe you do all those, and your job is not to create the new ones or to filter these new ones from, I don't know, whoever people that decide that these changes in the software need to make, right? Your job is just to fix them and to implement them. That's it, right? So you do all of them, and you have none left in your quote unquote backlog or your queue. When I was working in an office, especially my first job, a lot of people would finish their work, and then they would have to like literally find things to do. Like, I'm talking about like things that were essentially a waste of time and a waste of company money. If the company is considering that person is doing it for money on the hour, right? And so you find that I'm assuming that people find that they're twiddling their thumbs, pretending like they're doing something. And that's just not a good way to live, guys. It's like you have to fake something. That's not good, right? It's not good up here. It's not good for anybody. So that's where the freedom comes from when I say you get a bigger sense of freedom or more sense of freedom. And it might actually, people might come to find that it might actually make them feel like they can work better because they don't have this like dark cloud looming over them, right? Another benefit of being a digital nomad is also one of my favorites, just the ability to be fucking left alone. You don't have to deal with people coming up in your face to talk, like passing by your desk to talk to you about irrelevant things that you might be literally in the middle of doing something that requires your fullest attention. And you don't have people just coming to stop by, tapping on your desk, doing what I used to call drive-bys, when people would come and literally just drive by your desk and be like, hey man, you got a second? Can you blah, 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 blah. The people that need something from you, they can just send you an email or give you an instant message, right? And if you're busy, you can just get back to them when you so choose. Hopefully you're not going to be an asshole about it and wait weeks to get back to them. Hopefully you get back to them whenever you actually are available. But you don't have to deal with people just coming and driving by your desk and just being a nuisance to you. And I know that sounds really cynical, guys, but again, the person I am, I just want to be left alone. I don't want to have to breathe the normie air. I don't want to have to do the normie things. I just want to be left alone. And being a digital nomad more so allows you to do it. And that doesn't mean that you're going to get complete freedom from having to interact with people, because you're still going to have to be able to communicate with people. You're still going to have to answer emails and answer chats and stuff like that, right? Well, I guess technically you don't have to, but if you value your job, you would, right? Because that would at least be doing the bare minimum required to get your job done. But being left alone is nice. All right. Another benefit of being a digital nomad is, you can save gas money, or you can save not just gas money, you can save money in general if you so choose. Like, if I really wanted to, guys, I could live off of like $50 a week. Not talking about, mortgage or rent or, car notes or whatever. If you were a digital nomad, you wouldn't even need a car. So you could just deduct whatever you believe is a fair monthly price to pay for a car note, right? But not including like your serious bills. So, the essentials, shelter, clothing, transportation, I could live off of $50 a week in food if I wanted to. I could just simply get chicken breast, eggs, and white rice, and I'd be pretty good. And maybe a little bit of instant coffee. And I don't have to drive anywhere every day. I don't have this temptation to have to go out to eat at lunch all the time. I don't have to spend money on gas commuting every day. I can just literally wake up, walk to my kitchen, make a coffee, get in the shower, reach in the fridge, sit down on my laptop, and do work. I don't have to, I got to go in the car. I got to stop at Starbucks and I got to go grab some breakfast. And then when I'm at the office, I got to go and drive and leave the office again and go. I forgot to get food because, the 3 hours of peace that I have after I come home from my commute from my office between that night and the next night, actually 2 hours because I actually want to go to the gym tonight. So the 2 hours of time that I have, I actually want to, maybe read a book or watch some TV or listen to some music or go on YouTube and listen to somebody. So I didn't have the time to prepare my food for tomorrow. So now I have to leave the office again, which is going to burn more gas. And now I have to waste more time driving somewhere. And then I have to go waste more money to go to Chipotle to get some chicken and rice, right? If you choose to do so, you can save money being a digital nomad like that. And don't forget, guys, we're also helping the environment too, right? Right? So, and that's just one way. I mean, technically another way you could save money being a digital nomad is just simply like moving to a lower cost area, a lower taxed area, or just simply moving to a lower cost country that your money will stretch a lot further, right? But I would say that the number one benefit of being a digital nomad is you are living a more permissionless lifestyle, right? Now, it does not mean that you can just do absolutely nothing and just expect this place to keep you as an employee. But you most certainly don't need to ask permission to go to the bathroom. Could you imagine messaging people like in a group chat, being like, hey guys, I'm going to go to the bathroom for 3.14 seconds. I'll be right back. Like no one does that. It's just, no one even has to, at least the place that I've been working at, no one has to even say that because that would be the dumbest thing ever. Whereas before I have indeed worked at a company before that has given me a company phone. And if you left your desk, they wanted you to take your cell phone to the bathroom with you. Why they wanted you to do that, I don't know. Sounds kind of creepy to me, but I don't need permission to do things like go to the fucking bathroom, right? Or walk to my kitchen and get a water, or walk to my kitchen and get food, or take a 5-minute break and pet my dog for a second, or go and walk my dog for 10 minutes outside, right? You don't need the permission to do that. And you shouldn't, as long as everything you're doing isn't negatively impacting your production of work, right? In my mind, there's no need for all this like old world thinking. If you can get the job done in an equivalent and effective manner, maybe sometimes even more effective, then you shouldn't need permission to do things like go to the fucking bathroom, right? I mean, for Christ's sakes, people, I went to college. Not that means anything anymore, but I went to school for like 20-something odd years of my life, and I didn't even have to go to class if I wanted to. I could just stay at home. And now you want to treat me like I need to ask permission to go to the bathroom, like I'm a kindergartner. No, thank you. I would just quite frankly leave, right? All right, so we discussed drawbacks of being a wagey and the benefits of being a digital nomad, all right? And not, again, guys, I know some of this stuff sounds cynical, all right? I know it sounds cynical. I'm just telling you my personal take on it, okay? You guys if you don't agree with everything I say, it's totally fine. Like, you don't have to agree with everything I say. And, most people probably wouldn't. But I want to live a more free and sovereign lifestyle that is essentially going to be permissionless, or at least that is my goal, right? And if I were required to go in a company every single day, or literally physically go somewhere every single day, of which doing that is not a necessity, I'm just told that it's a requirement, even though it's not a necessity, it's a waste of my time. It's literally a waste of my time. Pay me more, double my salary, because otherwise there's no point in doing that. It is literally inefficient. and it's painful. And it's a bleak existence, right? Nobody wants to do that. Okay? Most people don't want to do that. I would say a majority of people don't want to do that, all right? But what about the orange pill, people? How can being a digital nomad benefit you in an orange pilled manner? Well, again, because you're not location dependent, because you have the ability to go wherever you want, right? You could go to a place that can protect you from inflation. At least make your dollar stretch out more. So in actuality, you might be going to a place, let's just say you want to go to a quote unquote third world country. You might be going to a place that actually is more inflated than the United States currently. But because of that, your United States dollar can stretch you a lot longer there, right? And I just want to have something else I want to share with you guys. I talked to you guys about the digital nomad guy, right, on YouTube. If you guys want to go subscribe to this channel, please do. But I actually just want to play. It looks like it's already playing on its own. It doesn't like me. I want to play a short little video from you guys from this guy who talks about why everyone should have at least people who want to live this digital nomad life. Why every one of these people, or all of you people out there, should have a quote unquote escape plan to leave the United States if something goes wrong. All right, so let's just go ahead and watch this real quick because it's informative, people. I want you all to know this kind of stuff.
Like crazy. The U.S. government is out of control, and now one bank is warning a dire outcome could be ahead for the United States. I'm going to tell you what it is and what it means for you right now. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson, the author of this book and the founder of Nomad Capitalist, where we help 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs and investors legally go where you're treated best. You can learn more at nomadcapitalist.com.
Heard that? He said, legally go where you're treated best. What did I say at the beginning of the episode? I want to live where I'm treated best, right? And I have the ability to do that if I'm a sovereign, free individual, if I can have a job that allows me to live a digital nomad lifestyle, right? I can just leave if I'm in a city or a state or even a country that doesn't treat me the way that I want to be treated. I can fucking leave. I can literally leave. I don't have to vote. I don't have to do any of this other stuff. I have the freedom to leave and go where I'm treated best.
Go where you're treated best. Our 5 understated.
What? No sound?
Considering the U.S. economy is already experiencing uncomfortable inflation, those have been the headlines.
Can you guys hear it now?
Uncomfortable inflation.
One in the chat if you can hear it now.
Gustavo says, based on the most recent inflation report from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics in April, consumer
No?
price index
Did you guys
for
get
all
rugged?
urban consumers rose by 0.8%. An inflation rate of 4.2% is more than uncomfortable, he says.
Can you guys really not hear?
Inflation seems to have fallen on deaf
You guys
ears in
joking?
Washington, as Congress has
You guys, y'all are joking around, right?
Since World War II.
Well, all right. Yeah, maybe you guys can only hear from my mic now. I don't know. Painful. Anyway, all right. So the point of that is, instead of playing it for you guys, and I know that was a waste of 2 minutes time, so I apologize. Gonna have to figure out why that wasn't working. But point of that was, basically the guy, he said he has always wanted to go where he's treated best, right? And since we're on the orange pill topic, obviously everyone here that's orange pilled knows the dangers of hyperinflation coming, right? So how can being a digital nomad benefit you from the orange pilled dilemma that we are all currently actually facing, even though no one knows we're actually facing it yet? And then he goes into talk about that, there's all kinds of very important people that are very financially savvy, saying that we're going to be heading into one of the worst time periods in history for inflation, right? And again, if you are living a life of a digital nomad, you can just pack up and go somewhere that this is affected less. Now, he did say, guys, that obviously America is not going to be the only place that's going to be affected by this problem that we have, right? But he also went and said that he'd venture that America is probably going to be one of the worst places, if not the worst, right? Probably all the countries that are a part of this whole like gigantic central banking system are going to be the bad ones, right? So what if you're a person who is working at a McDonald's and you can't leave? You have to at that point, your only option is to just leave without anything, right? Just be like, fuck it. I got $20 in my backpack. I got my feet and maybe my car, maybe a tank of gasoline. And that's what we're working with here, Chiefs. We can go. And, those people will, eventually, and who knows, things could get, I'm not saying that they are going to get this bad, but things could get so bad to where, you have, everyone's going to be forced to leave, or else they're just going to, I don't know, rot in the streets. That's probably never going to happen. But if you are a digital nomad, you can make that transition from your current location to a location that is going to be better for you. You can make that transition easily, right? You can just, you're making good money already. You just put money down for a down payment somewhere on an apartment, or go and buy a home somewhere, or, just do what some digital nomads do and just live in Airbnbs and just go travel from place to place, right? You have the ability to do that, right? So you can escape the inflationary giant that's going to come and eat us all. I will get caught up on the chat again. Pavlo says, so they try to lure you in with emotion and slowly increase the work and keep your pay the same. That's genius. Yeah, it is genius, right? Talk about Ponzi's. Christian Soto says drive-bys, LMAO. Sam Perchinsky says fixing legacy code. Story of my life, my first software job. Cody Mouse, what up, dude? Says no sound from the video. Uh-oh. No sound. Yes, I rugged you guys. Rugged you guys all. We won't rewind it because I was just able to explain it to you guys. Look, if you guys want to go watch that video, I think it's on the homepage of his channel, actually. So go to Nomad Capitalist on YouTube and check it out. Cody Mouse also says yes. Oh, never mind. We already went over that. Need to live that McAfee life minus the last part. I shouldn't laugh at that. Yeah, I mean, that's what McAfee did. He was a digital nomad. And McAfee, guys, as eccentric as he was, he lived a pretty baller lifestyle, right? Like the dude he was eccentric, but the dude was based, right? Like he was super based. He just was like, hey, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm going to take off to the Bahamas. I'll see y'all later. And why could he do that? Because look at all the things that he did. He made his money from utilizing technology and the internet, right? And now his mark is left on all of us, at least all of us who have a Windows computer. I don't have a Windows computer anymore, except for the one that I use for work. But even the one that I use for work, I just simply remote connect through my Macintosh, because my Macintosh is taking up my desk space, and that dirty Windows computer can just stay over there. Sorry for you Windows maximalists over there, but that's just how I feel about it. All right, family. So to recap, a digital nomad is someone who can essentially live a more free and sovereign lifestyle, getting a job accomplished digitally. doing things over a computer, over the internet, not location dependent. And yeah, a wagey is basically someone in our instance is someone who's just required to go into a place that they're bound to a cage, right? They're encapsulated, not free, right? We all want to be free. Everyone is in this chat is here to be free, right? Max Dignitas says, my team is organizing a quote unquote reunion picnic, and I'm not sure I want to go. I feel you on that, dude. I wouldn't want to go either. How is it a reunion when you've seen their mugs on Zoom over the last 18 months? Yeah, look, that's another thing too. Like, again, I'll go back to the pessimism. Like, I don't want to go with you after work to happy hour on Taco Tuesday. Okay, I have an actual life outside of my office job. All right, I have other jobs, literal other jobs that actually require more of my time than my office job. All right. I have things that I want to build. I have a future I want to establish. I don't want to just live my life to go into this not so great company every single day. All right. So no, I don't want to go to Taco Tuesday with you after work. All right. Please don't ask me again. You're not really my friend. You're just a coworker that I'm nice to. Right. So guys, if you guys got your feelings hurt from this stream, I apologize. Hey, being a digital nomad is not for everybody. But if you do want to be a digital nomad, it can be done. All right. I probably should, before I end the stream, I'm just going to say at the top of my head, some jobs that, and you guys are going to be surprised, but jobs that can be done digitally. Everyone always thinks about IT, right? IT, because, and also as a developer, I was working from home prior to the whole Crab 19, 18-month-long BS that we had going on, all right? So working from home, I was no stranger from working from home, all right? But prior to that, or other than just IT, anything like even communications-based jobs, sales, you can do a sales job digitally, right? It's totally possible. In fact, there's someone in this chat that does it. You have to, if you're selling things to people, if you're selling products or services to people that aren't even in the same state as you, you're going to be calling them on the phone anyway, right? Like, you don't need to be in an office to do that, especially at the people that you're talking to, the people that are literally facilitating your paycheck by you making a sale to them, are 500 miles away, 5,000 miles away. Why would you be in an office, right? Another thing, too, I should probably mention that I completely forgot about is the amount of money that companies will actually save having people, giving them the ability to work from home. And, even if they do work from home, I think, guys, put on the I will bring a tinfoil hat to the next stream. All right, guys, I promise I'll go find some fucking tinfoil and I'll bring it to the next stream. I forgot, but I'm just going to put on my metaphorical tinfoil hat right now, okay? I believe that a lot of the time, having them make you go into an office and being a part of this quote unquote company family, I think that's like some sort of like programming, right? I think that's just them making you feel like you're indebted to these people. Like you should feel like, oh, I'm so thankful for having this job. Even there's actually an abundance of jobs out there, right? Especially for people who have skills that are beneficial to the world, that like you guys gotta think about it like this. If you're a skilled worker, like, you're doing, I don't know, I'll just use myself again. Sorry, guys. If you're a software engineer or you do something that's skill-based, like, you got to think, someone who created that company, the idea of that company, needs you, right? If they didn't need you, they'd be doing it themselves, right? So let's just say you work at a 5,000 person company. The CEO can't develop code. If he did, they wouldn't need you, right? Or even if he could, he doesn't have the time to do. He literally doesn't have the time to write the code because he's doing things that are completely different than what you're doing, right? So these companies literally need you or someone else. And so, why, If you need me, why would I feel like I need you? Because I'm getting a steady paycheck from you? No. But if we didn't live in such an anti-orange pill planet, people might be able to live. People might not have to be able to be dependent off of paycheck to paycheck to live. Good thing of that. Getting off topic there for a second, but I have a skill, or you guys, anyone out there that has a skill that is knowledge based, meaning people need you to do it. There's an abundance. There's literally an abundance of jobs out there. So why would I feel like I need you? Why would so what, you want me to come in an office? Okay. Like, even though I don't need to. And then you go to the office and then they just program you into thinking that you're just so blessed to have this everyone's got to try really hard. You guys got to work extra hard, even though we're never going to pay you. We're never going to, give you that $50,000 raise that you probably actually deserve, because we're probably making 2, 3, 4x that off of you. Right. Yeah. Ranting here. Sorry guys. Sam says, Babe Honker in the house. Babe Honker says, I never saw my fellow employees, so I did enjoy happy hours at the work sometimes. Yeah, I'm going to happy hour by myself. The Black Sheep says, everyone watching, smash the like button. Yeah, thank you, Black Sheep. Everyone smash the like button. Sam Perchinsky says, don't rug us. You guys want me to stay? Do I need to keep going? Babe Honker says, the future is some jobs / careers shifting over to remote work. Possibilities are endless. Yeah, other than just sales. Okay, so obviously, a mechanic or a repairman couldn't be, well, actually, you know what? I mean, I know plenty of repair guys who are self-employed. So even though they do work in a certain city, if they really wanted to, they could just pack up and leave, and they could just go elsewhere. And technically they could advertise their services and get clients that way. Right. Sam says, it's so insane to think you would have to be in the office for that. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, honestly, Sam, I don't remember exactly the point that I said that when you made that comment, but in my opinion, it's insane to think that you need to go to office to do things like talking on a phone or answering emails, right? So I'm assuming that's what you refer to. Babe Honker, great example of what Josh is describing is a mortgage specialist. They can work remotely or from an office. Most choose to work remote. Yeah, mortgage specialist, accountant, anything that just that you're already basically doing on a computer anyway, right? Whit Emery says, I watched your streams a year back when you were all coding live. Where do I look to start learning the basics? I'm clueless on that type of work. Go to this website right here, or look at my, go check out my basic computer science tutorial videos. You might need to have I don't have a whole lot of basic computer science tutorial videos. Honestly, Wade, all my basic CS tutorial videos, I literally didn't make for YouTube. I made them on YouTube, but I made them for people in my group so that when they ask me the same question again, I can just say, all right, here's a link to this 5-minute video that explains all that. Watch it 10 times if you have to. Christian Soto says, let's get that pizza party. No, thank you. Actually, Christian, I'll get that pizza party and I'll do it by myself at home, right? And hey, this way I can pick whatever pizza I want, right? So Chain says, rant away, homie. Orange pill flame. Yes, indeed. Antonio says, should I apply to developer jobs even though I'm not done with boot camp? Yep. Yeah, Antonio, totally, dude. All right, so here's why you should just start applying anyway. Worst case scenario, none of those jobs work out, right? Worst case scenario, you just went on a couple interviews and that's it. Was it a waste of your time? No, it wasn't, because every time you do another interview, you get a little bit better at it. You get one step closer. You guys can see my nails. Well, this camera never focuses, and it really makes me mad. I think it's because I need a new light, guys. I need a new ring light. Can you guys see my crusty hands? Is it going to focus? It won't focus. What about this? If I try to focus on this, can you guys see that? Will that focus? Got my Coinbase card. Yeah, I think this light is too bright for it to focus on anything. I'm getting distracted here. Excuse me, gents. Antonio, why you should apply anyway? Because every time you go to an interview or you take one of these interviews, you get a little bit better at it. And honestly, Antonio, I tell everybody that works with me, I tell them that like even if you have a job already, you should be at least doing 1 or 2 interviews every 6 months. Even if you're at a place where you're doing something that you currently really like and you don't have any plan to leave, you should be at least doing these interviews at least 1 to 2. 2 would be optimal every 6 months, because it keeps the nerve levels down. Right? Honest truth, like. Even me, thine self, Josh from Meatless Program. If I don't do an interview for a while, I'll get rusty and I'll be like, you know. But if I do like 10 interviews in a week, man, the second one's 2 times better than the first one. The third one's 3 times better than the first one, right? And Antonio, plus, like, you know, depending on like what level of jobs you're interviewing at, like if you're going through like junior level jobs, you might get like whiteboarded, you might get asked algorithm questions. And so just doing those things before you finish your boot camp, it's only going to help you, dude. It's not going to hurt you. You know, and you'll get a little sneak peek of like what it's going to be like, right? It's just like training for the big fights. And hey, I just told you worst case scenario. Like worst case scenario, you got experience and you know, you calmed your nerves a little bit. Best case scenario, you get a job before you graduate, right? So like, fuck, it's like a win-win situation, right? So yeah, dude, totally. In fact, I would be, even before you graduate, I'd be trying to like send out like at least 5 applications per week until then. Cody Mouse says, at Sam, I can finally be that hot chick at the bar. Yes, you can. Thanks. Matt W says, good evening. What up, Matt? Matt in the house, good evening. M says, ELP. Yes, ELP equals me. Matt says, working man hands. Indeed. Hey, Matt, what Matt does, guys, Matt's a painter, and Matt can work independently. Like, if Matt really so chose to, Matt has a skill set that a lot of people don't. So if Matt wants to, Matt could literally pack up his shit and go to fucking Brazil and open up a website, online service, and advertise his service online digitally, and he could just be self-employed there. And like even people that do like, even if you're like again, the example I used, like a repairman, like you think people in fucking, I don't know, guys, what's like the worst? What's a pretty bad third world country that doesn't have toilets? All right, so if you're a repairman, maybe avoid the countries that don't have toilets, right? But a majority of the other countries, everyone needs a toilet, right? Cody Mouse says it's a pro strat right there. Thank you. Even if it requires languages that don't know yet, yeah. About the interviews, Antonio, yeah, dude. Even if it requires languages that don't know yet, look. Antonio, you're talking about developer jobs, right? Okay, so pretty much like 95. I'm gonna say 95. Let's be generous here. About 90% of developer job postings are written by Karen in HR, who just knows fancy buzzwords, and she just knows like, oh, these are all the cool, like these are all the cool things that people said that they would like to have for this job. The chances of them, especially if it's like a junior position, right, which is probably what you'd be applying for, the chances of them being able to get a junior candidate that knows like that is a quote unquote master in like 5 separate languages and like and libraries and stuff, it's not going to happen, right? So like, you know, just, and actually if they ask you about a certain language, just be like, yeah, I mean, I'm familiar with the language. I've maybe touched it a couple times, maybe done like a couple hello worlds in it, you know, maybe wrote a little text game in it, but I don't really know the standard library very well. But you know, learning languages is not super hard for me. You know, blah 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 blah. I've learned one language, I learned them all. They're just all typed a different way, right? So yeah, Antonio, I would still do that anyway. Matt W says, got some serious possible self-employment work lined up right now. Might do a whole hospital. Yeah, boom, there you go. And you know, if Matt wanted to, guys, he could move to Uzbekistan and work there, right? Matt Fire Sign, yes. Matt W might get hired there full time too, but I don't want the jab. Yep, jab's the that's another. I didn't want to mention this on stream, guys, but that old thing that they put in you. You know what I mean? That old thing that they stick in you. If you're a digital nomad, just working from home, working from I don't know, where's probably the most oblong place I can think of to work from. If you're working from I'd say Starbucks, but that's not an odd place to work at. If you're working from a lobster factory, all right, ain't no humans in there. Ain't nobody gonna require you to get a jab to go in that lobster factory, right? Sam says most of Africa. Yeah, I think so. I'm going to not South Africa, but yeah. Matt W says $70K a year if I were hired on, and also general maintenance, somewhat easy stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Think about it, Matt. But at the same time, you could do whatever you want, baby. You got a skill that people need that allows you to be location independent, right? You guys keep seeing the lightning in the background. Every time I fucking stream at nighttime, you guys are in the chat, it starts lightning. I think it's a sign. Maybe it's a sign that we should all praise and love the Lightning Network. It knows. All right, guys. So, Wagey Wojak versus Digital Nomad. I think the clear winner tonight is the Digital Nomad. In fact, I think that the Digital Nomad would indeed be a based character if we were characters in a video game. And I would venture to say that the Wagey Wojak is probably not very based, right? He's probably just a, not so happy guy, which is why the guy in the thumbnail looks like he's very sad and tired because he only really gets 2 hours of sleep every night. And because he wants to have a life outside of work, he's got to do something to spend that money on, right? And so he's just sad and depressed. He's sleep deprived, and he's just overall not so great existence, right? Whereas the digital Chad Nomad, he's not confined. He's not confined to but one realm. That man can go wherever he wants, right? As long as he has, the resources to do so, and the know-how and the ability to connect to an internet, he's all good. Lightning in the back of the screen, guys. That's all I got for y'all. Wish me luck on not getting struck by lightning tonight. And I'm out. Guys, if you aren't subscribed and you're in here, please give me a subscribe-z, like, comment, etc., etc. The things that you're supposed to say, right? Later, guys. Good night.